On my 7th wedding anniversary, I received a special gift, a dashcam recording from my husband's car, capturing the sounds of him with his new lover. The whole city knew him as the perfect husband, the man who once flew in 2,000 roses for me, who rented out all of Iceland just to show me the northern lights. But in that recording, he gasped and moaned while telling someone else, "Why bring her up? She's so understanding. She never checks up on me." Expressionless, I saved the evidence and set my plan in motion. 3 months later, I was diagnosed with a terminal illness and died in a carefully staged car accident, my body consumed by flames. At my funeral, he clutched my urn, devastated. His company's stock price collapsed overnight. Meanwhile, across the ocean, I watched the news from a mountain resort. I smiled coldly. That is, until I deliberately left a trail on social media. The man who had lost everything came looking for me, eyes bloodshot, kneeling in the snow. "Please, come home with me." My former rival wrapped an arm around my waist, eyebrow raised, a smile curling his lips. "She's my wife. And you are?" After 7 years with Griffin, I received a special anniversary gift. Not jewelry, not the Hampton property, but an automatically backed up dashcam recording from the cloud. The screen was pitch black, the lens clearly covered by a coat, but I could hear the audio crystal clear. "Griffin, not here. Someone might see us." It was a girl's voice, tinged with panic but more prominently, rapid breathing. Then came the rustle of fabric, the mechanical sound of a seat reclining, and a man's low, triumphant laugh. "What are you afraid of? This car has privacy glass. No one can see anything from outside." That was my husband Griffin's voice. I would never forget the sound of that moment, even if I turned to ashes. Just 10 minutes earlier, he called me, his voice gentle as if soothing a child. "Babe, I'm stuck in a multinational video conference at the office. I'll have to cancel tonight's anniversary dinner." I had my assistant send that latest haute couture dress home, try it on first. The recording continued. "Gentle, that's the tie Kelsey gave you. Why bring her up? Focus. But aren't you supposed to be with her tonight for your anniversary? I'm taking up your time, won't she be angry?" "She won't. Kelsey's so understanding. She never checks up on me." Then came the sound of a zipper opening, heavy breathing, the sharp clink of a metal belt buckle hitting the car window, and those nauseating wet sounds, echoing with perfect clarity in my study, a room that might have once felt warm but now felt deathly silent. I listened without expression. I didn't cry. My hands didn't shake. I simply clicked save with cold precision, backing up the 40-minute audio file to 3 different encrypted cloud drives. It was 3 p.m. I had been in the kitchen preparing his favorite lasagna. The oven's heat had scalded my hand, raising a blister. I looked down at the red mark on my hand and suddenly felt nauseous. All that devotion now seemed like nothing more than a ridiculous comedy show. Every media outlet called Griffin the devoted husband. When I was 20 and hospitalized with appendicitis, Griffin was so worried he canceled a $100 million deal to stay by my bedside for 3 days and nights. He insisted on feeding me water himself, on wiping my face with his own hands. At 22, when my graduation exhibition was vandalized, Griffin flew in 2,000 blue enchantress roses from the Netherlands by private helicopter, filling the entire hall. He knelt on one knee and proposed. "My Kelsey deserves the very best this world has to offer." At 24, when I mentioned wanting to see the northern lights, he cleared his schedule for half a month and took me to Iceland. Holding me in the freezing night, he whispered, "Whatever stars you want, I'll pluck them from the sky for you." Turns out those star-plucking hands were also eager to unbutton someone else's clothes. Turns out Griffin, who swore he'd fight the whole world for me, would also work up a sweat over another woman. Even with that lucky coin I gave him still in his pocket. The girl's name was Joyce. I'd seen her before. She was a scholarship intern Griffin had sponsored, only 3 months into the company. Her features bore a slight resemblance to mine, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that she had that kind of naive, timid innocence fresh out of school, something I, the so-called perfect wife, had long since lost. My phone vibrated, an iMessage from Griffin. "Babe, meeting's over. Heading back now. Got your favorite red velvet cake. Wait for me." Looking at the words on screen, I smiled bitterly. If I hadn't heard that recording, he'd seem absolutely perfect. 10 minutes later, the fingerprint lock chimed.